Hey, what's up? Welcome back to Project Freelance. How's it going, guys? My name is Kay Anagonio. If you are new to this podcast, I would like to welcome you. Thank you for tuning in this week. I am talking to Cam Harper Art, a 3D artist and animator out of Brighton, UK. I wanted to get this person on here because I saw their art on Instagram and I was blown away by it. They did this absolutely insane piece of Mike Wazowski from Monsters, Inc. And it drew me in with its creepiness. And I was like, I need to talk to this person immediately on the podcast. So this week we're talking to Cam Harper. But before we get into the episode, just a few little tidbits. If you guys are interested in photography books, I actually have a book out called No Tracers, an Urban Explorer's Diary. When I'm not freelancing, I explore abandoned places, and I would like to share my art with you in the form of a coffee table book. It's something that I worked very hard on, and it's something that I love sharing with people. So if you guys want to get a copy of that, go to justtheletterk.com/no tracers. There will be a bunch of links down in the description. There are also a bunch of affiliate links to gear, things like camera gear, backpacks, audio equipment, things that I think would help you in your freelancing career, especially if you are a photographer or videographer. But obviously in this episode, we are talking about 3D art, so it's a little bit different, so that might not be relevant to you. But if it is, check out the links in the description. And I have to say a huge thank you to our partner of this podcast, Liquid Death Water. If you've never heard of Liquid Death Water, well, hey, don't worry, because I made an ad for you, and it's coming at you in 3, 2, 1. From the streams of the Austrian Alps comes a new kind of water, a water that is sure to raise you from your grave. If you're tired of buying cases of plastic water bottles that contain carcinogens and God knows what else, or if you're trying to lower your waste footprint, Liquid Death comes in beautifully rugged aluminum cans. Murder your thirst with a can of Liquid Death. Check the link in the description and use code JustTheLetterK at checkout for 10% off your order. Liquid Death. Murder your thirst. All right, so yeah, use just the letter K at checkout at liquiddeath.com and pick up some water, pick up a case of water, and enjoy it. All right, without further ado, let's jump into this episode with Cam Harper. Cam, please introduce yourself and what it is you do as a freelancer to the Project Freelance audience.
Hi, my name's Cam. I go by the name Cam Harper Art, and I am currently working as a freelance 3D artist, kind of just doing like a range of stuff, from sort of indie video game characters to custom sculpts to miscellaneous bits and bobs, just wherever I can apply my skill set, and yeah, just like whatever the client really needs from me, I'll be like, I'll do it.
So take me back to the very beginning. When did you first get into the world of 3D modeling and character development? What kind of gave you that bug? Like, where did your inspiration come from?
To be honest, so I mean, I've only been freelancing. Where should I start? I mean, I loved playing with like blue tack when I was like around 10 years old, you know, like making little characters and that kind of thing. But then I gravitated towards like illustration. Just I don't know why. That's just how it went. I think because like I was spending a lot of time in school just like doodling on my jotters, and I wasn't really like the time to set up like, you know, clay stuff and clean up and whatnot. But when I was at university studying animation, so I graduated last May, I think, and it was only in the last year of uni that like I got to try out ZBrush, and like I've been like watching speed sculpt on YouTube for like years, just because I think it's so like it's almost like a meditation, I guess, and it's just so satisfying to watch. And like I knew that I was interested in it, but like I just never had like the software handy, or like, you know, the mindset of I want to be a sculptor. I just thought like, okay, because I was good at illustration or drawing, I was like, okay, that's just the route that's laid out for me, and that's the one that I must follow. But really, yeah, just like we did like a self-portrait in third or fourth year. And I just tried it out, but like, I loved it so much. Just so satisfying. Just to like get my hands on, manipulate the clay and just make it look like whatever, and just take it from there. And I'm fortunate enough to be like taking on jobs as a result of that, and through like social media and whatnot, and just taking work where I can.
In school, one of my questions is about your education background. So you went with animation. Do you think that helped you as an artist? Like, do you think you learned enough at school to really push you ahead of the rest of the crowd? Or do you think that, things like YouTube are a viable way to get your own education for free, essentially?
When you say school, do you mean art school?
Yeah. University or whatever you did for, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was art college. And I've thought about it a lot. Like it took me a while to like get through art school, because like I don't know, it's a big commitment. And the whole way through I was kind of like, I don't really want to be here, but I do want the degree. Like I want the piece of paper. With hindsight, I think most of my learning has always come from being self-taught and just like trying things out in my own time. And I do know that, like, especially in this industry, like 3D art and VFX and what have you, obviously like the degrees are going to, get your foot in the door and like your qualifications. But really like the work comes first, I think. And that's the first thing that people see. But yeah, like at college, it's a great opportunity to learn. And like, I think if you're productive and like you have a, clear goal for what you want to get out of it, it's a great place to like collaborate and try things that you wouldn't have normally tried. And, I guess the resources, like we have computers, they have computers and software and everything that you need to learn. It depends. I think it's probably for the best, to be honest, because like I went into art school kind of like, okay, I'm very like fixed and like rigid in what I want to do, thinking that it was like illustration. But yeah, I mean, it landed me in something that I love even more than that, which is like 3D art. So I guess it, inadvertently landed me in a place that I'm just like really comfortable with. So I don't know if that answers the question.
Yeah, definitely. And then I was wondering, like, as you're in Brighton, right? So are you getting, when you do freelance stuff, are you getting gigs locally? Are you getting them online? Like, do you have like international clients? Like, how does that process work for you? Where are you getting your gigs from?
It's pretty international, I would say. Like, it is entirely online at the moment. I think that's just sort of where I've kind of like, I don't intend on sort of sustaining that way, because at the moment, people message me and I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. I don't think I can rely on that for forever. So I think, I have tried to reach out to people in Brighton, some studios, but I don't really think I've made as much of an effort as I could have, just because like people are messaging me frequently enough online that I've got like, enough work coming in that I'm just kind of fairly comfortable. So yeah, to be honest, like, I was kind of half expecting this to come up, and like I was like, okay, I don't really have much to say on like landing jobs, because I'm still struggling, to be honest. Well, not struggling, but like I'm still trying to find the most sort of consistent way of like landing gigs. And I think I've been quite fortunate in that most of it comes from like my Instagram. And yeah, like I posted a few artworks over the past year that seem to gain a lot of traction and do quite well, like in terms of like the stats and likes and whatnot, that kind of stuff. Um, yeah, but I mean, like that brings in an audience and that brings in work, so it's like nice. um, yeah, so but it's really just been because of that. So like, I mean, I've gone on to like Polycount, job boards. I've landed a few projects there. Uh, but yeah, I would say at the moment I'm fortunate enough that people are coming to me for the work. But yeah, like if to be honest, like if you have any advice for like reaching out, like maybe that's not what the podcast is about, but like
Oh, no, absolutely. No, I definitely can kind of guide you a little bit there. So I'm a freelance videographer by trade. I went to film school, so that's what I do as a freelancer. That's why I created this podcast, was to help other, freelancers out there. And it's not only like my opportunity to gain education for my guests, but it's also an opportunity for me to like help my guests as well if they have any questions. So for me, I get like 30 or 40% of my work from a website called Upwork.com.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard of that.
And I definitely back that platform 100%. I'm now like a top rated creator on there. I've made over 30 grand doing gigs on
Nice.
Upwork. So I definitely can say that I think they actually have like an animation, like 3D kind of section on there. So I think that you should definitely check out Upwork. I would stay away from like Fiverr just because people are charging $5 to do animation, and I think that's absolutely ridiculous.
Absurd, yeah.
And it greatly undercuts the market. And I think that, that website, like they had good intent when they started it, but I don't think that it's good for professional artists
sets a
out there.
certain
If that makes
expectation
sense.
and standard.
Exactly. And then the other thing I'll say is like Facebook groups, honestly. Like there are thousands of, animation Facebook groups or 3D modeling Facebook groups out there.
Right.
And people are often posting for their gigs on that. I've gotten, I'm a certified drone pilot as well. So I'm in a bunch of like drone Facebook pages, and people will post when they need a drone pilot. So it's, I think Facebook's a really good way to go.
No, it's like when you said drone pilot, I didn't even make the connection at first that's like for videographing. I just thought like you fly a drone, cool.
I mean, I do. I love it, but yeah, no, it's for video work for sure.
That's pretty cool. What you said Upwork. That was one of the sites that I didn't. Yeah, so you have to like go through like the setting up your profile, and I think there was like so many that I had sort of accumulated. It was like people per hour. I used that for a while. I tried with like CG Trader, just like freelancer, but like I felt that they weren't really specific to the kind of things that I was good at, and passionate about, which is important.
Man, there's got to be like some other like 3D art specific, like in animation stuff, like websites specifically. So I mean, if anybody out there is listening to this and you do this kind of stuff and please reach out to Cam.
Let me know, please. Help me.
Yeah, help them out, kind of guide them a little bit. I think that they would appreciate it a ton. And let's talk about social media a little bit more. Tell me how that's you had mentioned that you get most of your work through, social media and online. How has that had an impact on you? Like, either financially or just as an artist, having social media, like it's, for me personally, like I get a ton of gigs through social media, and it's been a huge impact on me. So, what about you?
I mean, I think about it, it's like it weighs in on my work quite a lot, because it's like it's almost like a love-hate relationship, you know what I mean? And I think that's because I started off, I don't know, like I was just sorry, kind of I think what am I trying to say? It's been really positive, especially this year, because I'm posting work that I'm passionate about and that I enjoy making, and I get to share it with people, and like they seem to really like it, and like that makes me feel nice. I can't deny that, and I think I say love hate because there's like that part of me that's like, oh God, I don't just want to be making art just to be seen and like get likes and followers and stuff, you know. So it's a dangerous beast to battle with. um, but you can't, yeah, like I mean, but with you know, traffic on my art page and like people seeing it, that brings in work, and like that at the moment is my focus. So it's like you know, I kind of have to, you know, I appreciate it for what it is. Uh, um, yeah, it's like I mean, yeah, I can't deny like is nice. Like I really enjoy the fact that like people like it, and you know, I guess as social creatures, we all like to be accepted. um, so yeah, I'm just trying to like just you know be mindful all the time of like you know, is this for me or is this for my audience, and you know where do I draw the line?
Yeah. And you don't want to, I mean, you do want to do things for your audience, but like you don't want to just do things for your audience. Like you want to do things that you're passionate about, like you were saying. Like I think that's the most important, and we can get carried away, especially on social media, like, oh my gosh, I have to post something because if I don't post something, nobody's going to see my stuff anymore. Like what's going to happen? And we start going to this like spiral. So yeah, I totally get what you're saying about being mindful of that. And tell me a little bit about the specific art pieces you've created, like some of your favorite pieces that you've worked on that you've gotten to you've gotten to do.
Yeah, I mean, it started off. I mean, with like the 3D art, I started off with just doing like likeness portraits of like celebrities that I liked, and it's a pretty good place to start. But I pretty quickly moved towards more sort of like surreal, imaginative stuff, because like I love like the photorealistic stuff. Yeah, I can just really get carried away in it. But then when I did the Rick and Morty piece, it was like, I don't know, like taking what I enjoyed about, you know, like bright, vivid colors and like kind of surreal, creepy, weird, like I don't know. But also there is like that element of realism which I always try and like carry through into the pieces. I mean, to be honest, it's hard to say because I really enjoy all of it, I guess. And that's probably such a lame answer. Um, what's my favorite? I guess the Mike Wazowski piece was like probably my
Yes.
favorite. I just got really carried away with it. Like it was originally just going to be Mike Wazowski sitting on one of the screen canisters taking a dump into it, which like I'm sure that would have been fine and you know amusing enough. But I was like, okay, I've spent this long on the body sculpt, and it's like, well, it would be a shame just to reduce it to a poop gag. Yeah, so like I did like the environment and stuff. Tried. I think I like it because like I was trying new things, and like I just picked up Substance Painter, which is like a texturing software for 3D artists. And so like I feel as though that was when like I really took things to I was able to take things to the next level sort of thing. And it just makes me, yeah, the whole time I was working on it, I was just like so excited and like just glad to be moving forward with everything. Because I was like, oh my God, you know, this is so intuitive, and like I'm really enjoying the process and the sort of what I'm getting in return. And it's like I can just see this carrying me through so far, you know what I mean? Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, and I don't know. What was your question? What was...
Just what some of your favorite pieces were, and like the Mike Wazowski piece was actually what made me want to hit you up, because I mean I'm a huge Monsters Inc. fan, and when I saw that I was like, oh my God, I need to get this person on the podcast like immediately.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's like quite a dark subject matter, which I really enjoy at the moment. I'm trying to put more of that into artwork. But like I like to keep it like lighthearted as well, trying to find that balance between like dark and kind of humorous.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, which I think that's just like the sweet spot for me at the moment. I'm sure a psychologist could explain why I'm like so willing to put like really weird stuff online, but oh, it's gonna get so much weirder.
Oh, yes. No, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I love that, the darker side of things. I think that that always like draws me in a little bit. I've had a bunch of different artists. I have another podcast called No Tracers, and it's all about exploring abandoned places. That's what I do when I'm not freelancing. And so I recently spoke to this guy named Rumham Revenge, and he creates creepy horror content inside abandoned places. So he uses like dolls or creepy masks, things like that. And I'm so drawn to like the dark side of art. And so I love what you're doing, and I think that it's absolutely fascinating to kind of get your own personal touch onto these characters, like the Rick and Morty piece and Mike Wazowski, and all these other characters you've got on here. I think that what you're doing is very unique, and it makes you stand out a lot as an artist.
Oh, yeah, thanks very much. That's nice to hear. I think what you say about like the dark side of things, I feel as though, I don't know how to put it. It's like, I feel as though no matter who you are, like if something disturbs you a little bit, like that is like a good thing. You know what I mean? Because it's like that's what being human is. It's like we've all got like weird, like dark, facets and shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. Can I say shit?
Yeah. Yeah. You absolutely can. You can say whatever you want.
And I just like to be, like, I'm trying to be more honest with the artwork. I mean, I don't want to like go full blown like psychopath, but like I just think.
But you could.
and I just might. No, like I just, like if it kind of gives you that reaction of like, ooh, as well as like, ha ha ha. It's sort of like, it's just a really nice combination, to be honest.
Yeah, that happy medium of and ha. Like, that's good. I like that. That's how we explain these things. It makes sense, That's the way it makes the most sense.
And like what you said about like taking iconic characters, like I've always kind of done that even since I was like 14. I think I did like some really like gory Pokemon stuff. It's probably concerning to my parents listening, but they encouraged it.
No, that's cool. Like having your parents support like that, like that's super cool.
Yeah, I'm really lucky. I think quite fortunate. If they're listening, hi mom, hi dad. Like taking existing characters, like it's like fan art is just like, I don't know. For me, it's just like taking something that's special to me and just like putting my own twist on it. I don't know if I'll be doing that forever, but I think for now it's just like, the sort of lore and the people see it and they're like, I know what that is, and it's like recognizable. But when it's like done in like a kind of twisted way, I just think it's like interesting to see people's reactions, and I enjoy it. Obviously, like I wouldn't be doing it otherwise. Like I'm sure there's lots of reasons like why I'm just like kind of like doing this certain type of art. But I think I'm just at the moment I'm just like trying to just focus on like the process, I guess, and not get super caught up in the end result, but just like, just take each day at a time and just know that, if I put the hours in, something cool is going to come out of it.
Absolutely. So take me through your process of creating one of these things, like from start to finish. Like where do you get your inspiration from? Like, is it always movies and TV shows? Like, is that like your main source of inspiration? And then from there, like picking the character, creating the piece itself, like take me through that process.
Okay. So I guess like the Mike Wazowski is probably like as good an example as any. So in animation, you generally are modeling in what's called like a T pose. So just imagine like a person standing vertically with like their arms spread out. And that just allows for like the rigger. They need to like rig the skeleton so it can be posed and animated So, and with the benefit of that is like you can model with symmetry on. Yeah, I mean, it's like so I use ZBrush to get like the initial sculpt down, and that can take anywhere from like maybe like a 2 days, 3 days if I want to like, get it to like a nice level. And I'm just like going with like whatever, the mood that I want to set for the piece is, like we said, like, haha, it's like somewhere
Yeah.
there. So I just like kind of let that lead me, let that sort of like guide the sculpt to wherever it needs to be, like how grotesque or like how
Yeah.
whimsical, like along that sort of scale. Um, and then, yeah, and then I like just like model some props with Z Modeler, which is a tool in ZBrush that's more like for like geometric polygons, and as opposed to like an organic sculpt like the Mike Wazowski thing. I mean, I'm still like learning quite a lot, but I think generally the workflow of like ZBrush, Substance Painter, and then software like Autodesk Maya, where you can take your model and your textures and then just like put it all together in one scene and get some nice lighting going on. I mean, the Mike Wazowski thing that took like 2 weeks, just for like an idea of like the time scale. Yeah. I mean, I just get like really caught up in it. And I think when you're, maybe that just comes hand in hand with like being like an artist or 3D artist, specifically when it involves sitting in front of a computer screen. Like you have to be able to like sit for hours and hours at a time. Like, yeah, I did that yesterday, and I was like, it's just like kind of like a meditation. I think it's fine when it's like your own work and like you're like completely in control of it. Maybe it's different when it's like freelancing. But yeah, like I just get really caught up in like the process and all the little nitty gritty like details. And but as for the process, that's pretty much it. I mean, I could go into like greater detail, but should I?
I mean, that I think that was great. I think that kind of gave everybody like an idea of like just the basis of the process. And looking at it, I'm checking out right now the step by step like little screen grabs that you did on that Instagram post, and it's just so cool to like see how you came from like the initial concept to like the ending result, and it's just so fascinating. So I think, definitely continue to like do that kind of stuff. Like I love seeing the process like that. Like I love seeing the step by step. It's super, super fascinating to me. So as a freelancer, how long did this take from going from, a hobby, something you love to do, to something that made you money? Like how long did that process take?
I mean, yeah. So I guess I sort of just like nest like the illustration and the 3D modeling together, because like they are quite closely related, I guess. And it's always been something that I've been interested in since like, just like primary school, or I guess you'd call it elementary school. Yeah, just it's the sort of cliche like, oh, I've loved it as long as I can remember. But yeah, freelancing, I took up the same year as I graduated, which was last year. And it was just the case where like I was always I didn't really have much of a social life, to be honest. So like I hadn't really worked as a I hadn't like been in the position where I was like I had to take on like jobs to pay for like a social life and what have you. But yeah, like it was like after you graduate, it's like, okay, now I don't have this massive commitment of like university and classes and projects and deadlines. And then I just like took a few months off because I felt pretty burnt out by the end of it. It was like 6 years because I ended up taking like 2 years out in the middle to transition, which is fun. And I just started like sharing, and it just kind of organically happened. Like people started messaging me, and I was like, oh shit, there's a demand for this, and I've got the time and the emotional capacity to like invest myself in this. And yeah, it wasn't like a decision where I was like, right, I'm going to start freelancing. I'm going to start doing it. It was like, oh, I got one job. Oh, I got two jobs. Oh, and it just sort of piled up. And I was like, oh, I guess I'm a freelancer.
Yeah, yeah. Your snowball started rolling,
Yeah,
basically.
exactly.
Love that.
And I was fortunate enough to be able to do it and support myself, which is like great. I've finally, at the age of 25, like, yeah, like I mean, I don't know if I should be so hard on myself. Like, I feel like I should have done it sooner, but I mean, that's just how it is. And I guess I wasn't ready for it, but now it feels great. And, I owe that to, my parents, and for being so patient and understanding. And, university helped, I guess, like get you in that sort of mindset of like, project basis, I suppose, and like just working to deadlines and structure, which I'm still working on. Like I could, but yeah. What was your question? I go off on tangents. I'm sorry.
How just how long it took to go from a hobby to freelancing, but you answered it definitely. You said it just kind of naturally happened for you, and I think that's really cool. Like a lot of people go into it and they're like, I want to freelance, but if you can just naturally start doing the work and the work is naturally coming to you, I think that's the best route that you can take. It just naturally kind of like falls into your lap, and then it grows from there. And so I think that's super cool that's the way it happened for you. And I hope it continues to grow. I hope your snowball rolling down the hill continues to get bigger, and I hope your workload. Yeah, right. Right, exactly.
Well, thanks very much. That's very kind.
Of course, yeah. So as a non-binary artist,
Yeah.
is that like I don't know how to like ask this question. Like, does that come into play with your art at all? Like, does that like have an impact on your art?
I'd really, really like it to. Like, I'd like to be more honest about, like, I don't know what. It's hard to pinpoint, isn't it? It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess like I see the weirdness in my art as like a sort of reflection of my perceived weirdness, in like the eyes of others, which may not be the case, but like I think, yeah, like I started transitioning to female, and I just I just got a lot of just very like strange vibes from people. I felt like some sort of science experiment, which isn't true,
Sure.
because it's a beautiful thing.
Right.
But I
Of course.
think, yeah, just I sort of hold that sort of differentness, that kind of otherness, in like a like this isn't like a reflection on anybody who's trans or non-binary, and I'm not like directly relating it to that, but I think like in my case, and maybe lots of other people's cases, I don't know, like it's like a bit hard sometimes, like to feel like super like proud of your identity, when it's like I feel as though like a
Right.
lot of people are against it.
Or don't understand it.
Yeah, of course. And so like I felt like pretty gross in myself, just because I was like, what am I? All that good stuff.
Right.
And I think that's just like a byproduct of that. It's just like I kind of make weird stuff because it's like, dance with me, brothers, like share the weirdness. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
just like things are weird, and that's okay. Like it can be like gross and weird and also kind of beautiful at the same time.
Absolutely.
um,
Love it.
but yeah, like I mean, non-binary, like female, whatever. Like I don't know. I just yeah, I'd like the art to sort of reflect that. But I guess I'm just like quite mindful a lot of the time of like, is the world ready for this kind of thing? And like, what even is it? Like, I don't know what I want to make. Like, I don't know what kind of message I want to convey to people.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think you'll get there though. I think that, with time you'll incorporate that more and
Yeah,
and
definitely.
just flaunt that weirdness, as you said.
Yeah.
We're all weird, and I think that, my love for, or my weirdness, if you will, is that, I love creating content in like these abandoned places. So I take my weird, dark, I guess almost fetish of abandoned
It's a
stuff,
fetish.
and I set right. I set music videos in abandoned places. I do photo shoots in abandoned places. So I'll take client work, and if they're up for it, I'm like, hey, I would like to set this in an abandoned place. I think it would be super unique and help it stand out and shine more. So that's just a little taste of my weirdness, if you will.
Yeah, like turning something, like embracing like that sort of dark side and shining a light on it, I guess.
Exactly.
Just like maybe a bit cheesy,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you know what I mean.
Yeah, I absolutely know what you mean. So this question can kind of make some of my guests, a little uncomfortable, but we'll see how it goes. Have you ever been screwed over on a job? Not been paid for something, anything like that?
No, thankfully, but I am kind of anxious that's going to happen because I don't think I listened to your previous episode and I was like, damn, I'm probably not being as careful as I should be. Like, I don't get people to sign a contract or anything. I do take like a 50% payment. That's generally how I do it if it's over a certain amount, like before and after completion. So I guess like that way it kind of works as like a deposit.
Yeah, and that means they're kind of like invested in it. If they give you something up front, they're more invested than if they were taking payment if you were taking payment at the end. So I think that right there is better than most contracts.
Oh, yeah,
honestly.
I guess so. That's a good point. Because I don't even know how do I do it. Do I just write like on a piece of paper? Does like a lawyer need to be present? Does it need to be like this official thing?
I mean, not necessarily. I don't think you need to get it like notarized or anything. I think as long as you write something up that says like, hey, this is what I'm gonna do for you. This is what I expect from you. Like pay me on time, pay me this much, blah 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 blah. And then they sign it, that is legally binding. As soon as somebody signs something, that's legally binding. So just as like a protection. But I will say that because we do a majority of our work online, people can always ghost you. People can just like not reply to you if they so choose, So I think exactly. And it can be detrimental to the project and to your work. But I don't know if you do things like put your watermark, because I mean you've got like your watermark on most of your pieces, like in there, like the Mike Wazowski piece, you've got like your Cam Harper art on there. I think that as well. Like whenever I send a video off to a client, I'll have my watermark over the entire video. Like it'll be like faded so you can barely see it, but it's there so that they can't just like download it and upload it and then not pay me. You know what I mean? Because I've had people do that to me before where I just sent them like a high res version of a demo or whatever, and then they stop replying to me, take that, upload it, and then I can't do anything about it,
Those savages, that's awful.
I know, man, but there are some awful people out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think doing things like watermarking your work will help a lot with that kind of stuff. Should you ever run into an issue like that, I think it's just another way to protect yourself.
A project I finished this week, I was towards the end of it. Like he just wasn't like replying consistently, and it just sort of stunted the production of things. So I was like, oh God, have I pissed this guy off? It's like, what's stopping him from just like, just taking the work in progress that I send him and just being like, bye, you know what I mean? So it's definitely, I've definitely thought about it, but I guess I've just maybe, I don't know, guess naturally like trusting of people.
Right. Yeah, no,
I get it. Bite me on the ass,
Trust them until you get screwed over, and then you'll never trust anyone again. Trust no one. Yeah, I mean, I've been, I've had a company before. One of the stories I tell frequently on this podcast is about a company that hit me up. It was Hypebeast. and they were like, hey, so we want to do this photo shoot with you. We want you to capture our fall clothing line. And I was like, okay, cool. Here's my rate. They were like, cool, no problem. We're going to send you a check. So they send me a check, and then they say, all right, so with that check, you're going to pay the models through the modeling agency, through their bank account, and then you'll take the rest for yourself. And I was like, cool, that sounds great. So I went and deposited the money into their bank account, and the check was fraudulent.
Oh my God.
And so the bank took the money out of my account, and so I lost like $3,500, and it was like detrimental.
Yeah,
because I was a young freelancer. I was naive. I just trusted this company. Turns out it wasn't Hypebeast at all. It was a company posing to be Hypebeast.
Man.
So
Sorry.
they completely like stiffed me, and
devastating.
it was horrible. But it was definitely a learning experience, and now I am a lot more cautious, and I do my research and all that kind of stuff, and now I can kind of pick up on scams a bit more, so I've made a couple YouTube videos about how to spot a scam and when it comes to freelancing, because I think it's important that other people know about that kind of stuff. So that's just a little backstory of my work and the time I was screwed over, so
well, the fact that you're like, I mean, that's devastating. It must have been like at the time, like that makes me want to be more careful, because that's just like, ugh. I think because like people message me on Instagram, and I think that's a perfectly valid way of like landing projects or gigs, as some would call it. But I think with that, there's like a sort of an anonymity to it. Like it could be anyone
Right.
messaging you, and like you don't know how trustworthy they are. I mean, when you speak to the people, it's like you kind of get an idea of, better idea of like what they're about, and like clients. I mean, but yes, I don't want to be fucked over. Please don't.
No, definitely not.
No. Please help.
So, I have one more question for you.
Yeah.
And that
I hope I'm
is,
doing good.
what is? Oh, you're doing great. You're doing awesome. I love this episode so far, and I can't wait to edit it and put it out. I think people are going to get a lot out of this. A lot of inspiration from you.
I hope so.
Yeah, absolutely. So my last question for you is, what is something you know now that you wish you knew when you started?
See, I was thinking about this because I watched a few of your like short clips on your Instagram, and that seemed to be a recurring question. So I was like, okay, what is? So I've thought about it, because I knew that if I was asked on the spot, I would give like some vague, sort of like cliche answer. So here's a vague and cliche answer.
Perfect.
I think it's like know your worth. When I started freelancing, or just when I was a certain age? Do you mean freelancing? Freelancing. Yeah, I'd say know your worth. That's about it, to be honest.
Perfect.
No,
that's great.
Okay. That's probably more like, I'd say, like know your worth and price what you feel that the work is worth, or what the work is worth, because there's like, you put, I think particularly with art, there's like that sort of stigma, maybe that's not the right word, but like it's sort of like sub work almost, you know what I mean? There's like that sort of false perception where it's like art shouldn't be as valued as something like accounting or like more sort of like academic work. I guess that's how I kind of frame it in my mind. But that's just so wrong, and I'm so I wish I hadn't let that get the better of me, because like hours and hours, and like everything that goes into being an artist and like freelancing, whether it's 3D art or like illustration or videographing, I was like, there's like so much of yourself that you put into it, and it's such an investment, and it's like, it's your life basically. Well, it might not be, maybe you just do it because but in my case, it's like my bread and butter, and it's like that's what I get out of bed for. And like to think that I was valuing myself below bit, like getting paid less than minimum wage in the end. And it's like, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's fine, like if you enjoy the work, but you want to do it and pay the bills and like, do what you want to do. And the way that I was charging, it just would not have allowed for that. So thankfully my dad, in his wisdom, just sort of really put things into perspective with like, okay, you've got your taxes, you've got your insurance, your home insurance, bills, gas, electric, your mortgage, and like how much to put aside and like how much you need to earn each month. And it's just like, yeah, I never really had that. So I just think knowing that and like sort of, I guess raising my fee to that sort of level, like I just, yeah, that helped so much. But yeah, I guess like no one goes into it like really knowing exactly what you must charge. I guess it's just like an ongoing thing.
Right.
Like
Absolutely.
I'm still gradually raising my prices, and like I saw in your previous episode, like you said, like it's good to just always be doing that because like you're always going to be learning and getting
Yeah.
better. I totally agree. And I think because you don't want to like price yourself too low, but you
Right.
also don't want to undervalue the work because like you said at the beginning of the episode, it's like that then sets a sort of standard for when that client reaches out to someone else. And it's like, okay, they say it's £600 for a job and then they're only expecting like £200, then that artist who you have nothing to do with is going to sort of suffer that because the client sort of expects it to be a certain level. Yeah. God, it's so complicated. Like yeah, I'm still obviously like I'm only 25. Like I have so much to learn. But even in the
Yeah.
space of like a year, yeah, I think knowing your worth and knowing that like you're not just setting your prices at for what the work is worth. Well, you are, but it's like everything that sort of led up to that point. You know, you,
Yeah,
the
absolutely. Yeah.
struggles and like your education and like
Right.
all the learning that's gone into it. And yeah, because like it's a really like it's a valid job and there's a demand for it and the world needs art.
The world needs
Yeah.
art, man. Absolutely.
um
You are so right. You are so right.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm still got a lot to learn, but I'm just enjoying being able to support myself. And I think that kind of puts me in a position where it's like, okay, I can sort of not relax, but just sort of, you know, see things relatively calmly and like, okay, so I've got my rent sorted, I can feed myself and, do ABC. And then, yeah, I don't know, just like, I'm just sort of, I'm kind of in that stage at the moment where I'm like, this is all quite new to me. So I'm just like, yeah, just keep going, keep, keep raising the prices and keep posting personal works because like ultimately I think that's what brings in more clients and projects is because like you know yeah, I mean like I don't like post freelance work that I do. I just do like personal stuff because that's like that's the closest reflection of me as an artist. Because like if I was posting freelance stuff, it's like I'm not always like super passionate about it. um
Yeah, of
yeah,
course.
and you don't want that to be the sort of like reflection of you. It's like because then you might get like
Right.
more people being like, "Oh, can you do this? Can you do that?" And it's like, yeah, I could, but I'd rather be doing stuff like this, which is which is why I post like those
Yeah.
weird sort of freaky stuff. Um, like freaky artworks. Uh, yeah, I don't know if I'm rambling,
Yeah.
rambling or not.
No, you're good.
Thank you.
It's a podcast. It's made for long form,
Ah, cool.
So I love everything you just said was great. And I think that, knowing your worth is super important as an
Yeah,
artist. And like I said in the last episode, like keep raising your prices. You do amazing work. So, I mean, I think it's just going to continue to
I
grow.
hope so.
And I can't wait to see where you go from here,
Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited as well, and yeah, just like I feel really fortunate that I've kind of landed in a sort of career where it's like close, it's really close to my interests and like my, what I'm passionate about. And I think, yeah, that's always been really important to me from a young age. So it's like, yeah, it's good. Although I need a social life. Like it's obviously it's kind of a complete tangent here, but it's like, yeah, like, you know, providing for yourself and making money. It's like, yeah, it's really good. It's like, it does a lot for, at least in my case, it's done a lot for my confidence.
Yeah.
But it's like, I'm really just doing that all the time. And yeah, like I think putting it in perspective, it's not like, it's not the only thing. So I think if I was, yeah, just keeping in mind that question, like, what would you tell yourself? It's like, just like, oh yeah, yeah, like, what would you tell yourself, your past self? Um, like, what did you wish that they knew? It's like, uh, it's not the most important thing, you know, like to be like amazing at something, or like to like just, you know, be famous, or, you know, these unrealistic expectations that we set for ourselves. Um, and I think that's why I'm kind of sort of gravitating towards the position of like, I just want to focus on the craft as, and be a creator, you know, and just like make stuff because I love doing that, and not really expect anything to come out of it, you know, and then be pleasantly surprised if like something does happen, because that's kind of like what it turned into. I was like, oh yeah, just like, I really enjoy making this, so I'm going to post it, and then, oh, other people like it too, and that makes me feel really nice. um, but yeah, like I said, it's like, it's not the most important thing. I think there's other things. Like I wish I had more of like a social life. That would be nice. But there's lots I could be doing there. But it's like, um, yeah, I mean, that's just my case. I don't know how relevant that is, but like, uh, yeah, just,
I mean, I get it though. I tend to drown myself in my own work as well.
yeah,
You know, it's like all I want to do all the time is work, 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 and it's like I've started to slowly gain more of a social life, and but still, like I could be working right now. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
that's exactly what it is. It's like that.
that's
So
that's always how I
it's like
feel. Is
the
like
guilt.
I could watch Netflix for 4 hours, or I could work on a project for 4 hours. You know, what would I rather be doing?
Yeah, yeah. I think, yeah. I was
But
listening to someone, like a ZBrush 2.5 hour like demonstration, and they were just talking about like being burnt out and stuff. And it's like, just want to avoid that as much as possible, because I took like two
yeah,
weeks off not too long ago, just because I was like so burnt out. I mean, I still love it, but it's like
yeah.
there's such a thing as too much of something.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, it happens. You know, I did 1,000 daily vlogs on
Oh,
YouTube in a row,
damn, that's crazy.
and I hit a wall. I was like, guys, I can't do this anymore. I'm sorry. I tried it,
Yeah,
but this is not for me. I just can't. It's unsustainable.
yeah,
Got to take breaks.
yeah, yeah.
So, if people want to hire you or check out your work, where can they go? What's your plug your
Yeah,
Instagram?
okay. So my Instagram is Cam Harper Art. That's probably the best place to contact me. I also have an email address. So it's just camharperart@gmail.com. I'm pretty responsive on Instagram. So I do have an art station, although I'm not really as present there. Um, yeah, and I guess that's it. Like I mean, I don't need to give like my phone number or anything. I'm not gonna.
No, no. What's your address? What's your social security?
What's your blood type?
I'm just kidding. What's your blood type?
Yeah.
We're coming for you.
Sorry.
I said we're coming for you.
Yeah, I'd say just Instagram, Cam Harper Art. If you so desire, you know, I do a bunch of stuff like game characters, film characters, like artistic standalone sculpts, or I actually do like concept art as like character design, but I'm kind of that's I guess like I don't want to take on like too many areas. But yeah, right, like 3D art is where my jam is at the moment. Um, so yeah, yeah, like hire me. I've got the time. Actually, not at the moment. I've got 2 weeks working on projects, and then I'll be free.
All right, guys, that was my podcast with Cam Harper Art. If you want to check out their work, please check the links in the description or just head to Cam Harper Art on Instagram and check out their work. Thank you again, Cam, for doing this podcast. If you guys liked what you heard today, please leave a rating and some feedback. It really helps the podcast grow. I would appreciate it a ton. And if you want to listen to more episodes, well, good for you. There are over 120 episodes of this podcast available for you to listen to. And if you have any questions, you can hit me up at Project Freelance on Instagram, or my personal is at K.Anagonio. I'll put my links down in the description as usual. Like I said, if you like this, please leave a rating and feedback. If you do that, I will send you a signed photo print from an abandoned place that I have explored. And if you guys want to get a copy of my book, No Tracers, An Urban Explorer's Diary, you can actually do that at justthelletterk.com/no tracers. There's a link down in the description. Thank you again to Liquid Death for partnering with me on this podcast. I appreciate it, and I love the water. Thank you, guys. All right, I'll talk to you next week on Project Freelance. My name is K.Anagonio. I am your host. This podcast comes out every Monday morning at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'll talk to you guys soon. Stay strong, keep enduring, go out, and go create something.